heroes. Gonna tell you about pros and foes and heroes. Gonna tell you about
comic books, costumes,
Facts, boots.
and other stuff.
In this week's issue,
Peacemaker.
Welcome into Bros, Foes, and Heroes, and I do not like the way I sound there because I sound like an FM DJ, but we're going to roll with it.
It's okay.
So, that's a new way to start the show. Hopefully kept
Someday.
you on your toes.
Someday.
But I am Zach, joined by the Frenchie the Fox to my Hank Hennessy,
Oh, boy.
Mr. Mike. How you doing, Mike?
I have no idea who Frenchie the Fox is, but I'm doing okay.
I had to look up the names to make sure because they're from a comic, a Charlton comic called
Charlton. Oof.
called The Fightin' Five.
I bet Charlton's got a big presence on Instagram.
Oh, I'm
Wouldn't you-
sure.
Wouldn't you think?
I'm sure.
Charlton Comics.
No. As spoiler alert on this, by the way, other members of The Fightin' Five show Irv, David, Sonia, Tom,
Tom.
and Granite Galero. That's not who we're talking about today.
Just gave up on that one.
I did.
You're just like,
I just,
whatever.
that is not who we're talking about today. The reason I make the reference to The Fightin' Five is because that is where we get the first appearance of another character who we are talking about today.
Oh, boy.
And that little character, well, he's not little. He's a big man.
Yeah.
It's Peacemaker.
All right.
And the reason I'm bringing Peacemaker up is obviously we saw him in the Suicide Squad movie with James Gunn.
He was really great in that, too.
He was.
John
And-
Cena, honestly, when he doesn't take himself seriously, he's fantastic. When he takes himself seriously, he can go jump off a cliff. But
and this might be blasphemous to some people. I think I prefer John Cena to The Rock.
well, because you've had too many helpings of The Rock at this point.
That's probably. And I know I'm just comparing the two of them because they are
He's going to be on that stupid
from the
Manning brothers football thing.
The Rock is?
Yeah.
Dude, you even know I watched
Every time you turn around.
he's like he's a Fortnite character too.
Oh, good.
Like he's everywhere.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, and maybe that is the thing that I appreciate about John Cena is that he's not everywhere.
Floss with Dwayne. Is that what
No, I don't know, but
Fortnite character.
so yeah, he is. He's like the boss.
I just honestly thought Fortnite would be dead by now.
I kind of thought too, but
We're going on like 3-4 years at this point.
Yeah. Now
Fortnite,
I haven't, and I
on.
play occasionally with
Do you?
my bros just because it's easy to
You come
hop
in
on and play.
You come
I'm
in on
terrible.
the hang glider. And,
Yeah, I do all that.
Is that how everybody does it?
Yeah, that's you have to come in on the hang glider to land
Get
before you
down
start.
there and steal a toilet and throw it at somebody.
You can't throw toilets.
No.
No,
If you're listening, Fortnite people, there you go. Throw a toilet.
and then after you figure that out, let me know how to throw a toilet.
Exploding toilets.
So Peacemaker,
Yep.
appeared in the Fightin' Five.
Love his costume.
It is unchanged.
Really.
Yeah, that
Since
was one of the
since the first
things
days.
since the very first
That's
time
excellent.
he was brought up. And I'll go ahead and I'll show you because all they did was, and we've talked about this before, funny enough, in previous episodes, but like Black Condor.
Yeah.
How Crack Comics had like a bigger volume that had a lot of little comics in it. And it was a bunch of different stories and his was in there. This was, we've kind of also talked about it with Captain Carrot, how his story was at the end of one and then they brought it to something else. But it's just a couple pages at the end of this Fightin' Five comic.
Yeah. Man, they could do a good job with Captain Carrot now.
Oh, they could do
They
a
could
good
do
job.
such a good job with that.
But so as you can see, Peacemaker has
Oh,
had the
yeah.
same uniform since he made his debut in Fightin' Five number 40.
That's really
40
fantastic.
or 41 in 1966.
The big silver mask is what. Yeah, it's just so good.
It is. It
It's
does
so
look like a toilet
unnecessary.
seat. Yeah. Well, there's one thing before we get into Peacemaker about the issue of the Fightin' Five. Like I thought about reading this, and then I decided not to because of the cover itself. The cover looks fine. It's
Yeah.
just some guy shooting somebody with a laser.
Is he shooting a Nazi?
But no, he's one of the Hank Hennessy is shooting somebody else of the
Hank Hennessy.
fan of the Fightin' Five. So he's turned on him.
Yeah.
But the thing that I was just like, I don't think I can do this. On the left side, you know, where it has like 12 cents and it like breaks down the issue kind of like a preview. It says, "What's this? Hank has turned on his comrades and joined the agents of death."
Oh, man.
And it's spelled out, and it's an acronym
Oh,
because
okay.
everything needed to be an acronym right now.
Sure.
So DEATH is dedicated enemies of and traitors of humanity.
Oh no.
They use the A as the and it doesn't make
traitors
any
to humanity. Well, why isn't it death? I mean, it should be another T.
Yeah, it's but dedicated enemies of and traitors to humanity.
Fantastic.
So
Good job,
like,
Charlton.
Yeah, I was like, man, whoever that A is has to be the weakest
Charlton Comics. Tell me about that.
All
Do you know anything about it?
So I know a little bit about this. So Charlton Comics was around.
Because that sounds like, the time of like baseball cards, bubble gum.
Yeah, no, it's 60s. Here's what I know about Charlton.
Okay.
So basically, Charlton had their comics, and eventually they went out of business, and DC bought all of Charlton Comics.
Okay, I got you.
So Peacemaker himself.
So they just bought all the characters, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. They bought all the characters from Charlton. Sure. Peacemaker has 5 appearances in Fight and 5 comics where they continue a story. Mm-hmm. And then he has his own 5-issue run with Charlton afterwards. And that's it.
Okay.
So 10 appearances for Charlton. DC buys him and doesn't get back around to using him until whatever the Infinite Earth, the big reset event in the 80s.
Yeah, that's
he's shown
quite a while.
He's not like brought in, but they're like Earth 4 is filled with all the Charlton comic characters.
Oh, I see.
So he makes his appearance there.
That makes sense.
In the late 80s, we'll get into his bio.
I say that makes sense, like it does. It doesn't, but okay.
I'll tell you. There's 2 different origin stories for him. There's the Charlton origin, and then the newer DC one.
Okay,
I'll tell you both of them. We're not necessarily going to hop into everything that he's done, like mission wise and stuff, because there's like 190 appearances.
Oh wow!
Obviously, this show has always been, I want to be like a introduction in a way, or if we focus on a huge storyline, I still don't go through and tell everything, so you can go back and read it or be prepared for another. We're here to help.
Right.
So
absolutely, I think that's what anybody would say about this podcast.
Exactly.
We're
We're here to help.
Yeah.
You can make your donations payable to.
Hello, how can I help you?
So let's focus on the Charlton one first there. And basically, what happens... Well, I'm thinking, let me go ahead and share this tidbit first, because I don't know where else we'll be able to bring it up.
He was the bastard son of a butterfly and a machine gun.
No, he's not. Funny you brought up a butterfly, because the Peacemaker series is out as well, and it's fantastic.
The HBO Max, right?
HBO Max. And I might just touch on a little bit at the end.
Yeah, please. I have not seen them.
You have not seen them. I've seen all of them.
You've seen all of them, yeah.
Butterflies are a very pertinent point of the show. Cool. So it's funny that you brought that up. But I read where when Alan Moore was doing Watchmen, instead of creating his original characters at first, because he worked for DC,
right,
he had found all those Charlton characters that were from like the 60s that he was going to use. And DC said, no, why don't you just go ahead and make your own characters instead? But there was a point in time where apparently he was going to use these characters, and the role of the comedian was going to be Peacemaker.
Oh, cool.
So if you've read through Watchmen or seen Watchmen and all that, Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character was going to be Peacemaker.
Oh, wow.
So
he actually would have made a good Peacemaker, I think.
Well, I don't think that Jeffrey Dean Morgan himself would have. I'm just saying, like,
I'm just saying, you put that toilet seat on his head, it would have been pretty good too, because he's very dry and
he can. Yeah.
But I don't know that he could play stupid though. That's the only thing.
Yeah, Cena plays stupid, so like he can play the. We'll save it for the TV show.
Yeah, I got you. Sorry.
So the Charlton comic origin is very simple. Basically, he's like I'm trying to find the exact. Here it is.
Charlton, brought to you by...
His name is Christopher Smith still. So that's the cool thing, too, is they haven't really changed his name with the other origin. I'll show you how they did a little bit. But for the most part, he's Chris Smith through everything.
Okay.
So even back in 1966, Christopher Smith was a envoy to the Geneva Arms Conference, a man dedicated to peace.
Sure. He's an envoy to the Geneva Peace Conference. Is that what you said?
The Geneva Arms Conference.
I had it absolutely the opposite. I said Peace Conference. You said Arms Conference.
So he shows up for this thing. He's like flying with the secretary, and they know about this guy who's trying to cause all sorts of problems. He's basically like a warlord, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
Like he sells guns and
arms
all that.
dealer,
and he's trying to start wars.
Sure.
So
It's good for business.
Exactly. Peacemaker knows this and knows that he needs to stop Emil Bork.
Emil Bork.
B-O-R-K. He just calls him Bork a lot.
Bork
is the evil guy.
All I
who's
can think
selling,
of is the Swedish chef.
Yeah.
Borky, Bork.
Exactly. So he's fighting the Swedish chef here. But no, driving in his limousine to the conference through the mountains,
Sure.
Bork attacks his limo.
I like how you say all these things like it's just natural. Or it's just normal. You know,
It is.
driving in a limousine through the Alps,
Well,
he's attacked by Bork.
that's the thing about these 60s
That's
comics.
what I'm saying.
Is some of them you're just like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And there's a part we'll get to again. So
That is the thing about comics. They do want you to just suspend all
disbelief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
and
yeah.
this one a little bit.
And he's got a hand for a foot.
So they
Okay.
basically kind of pretend to be dead in the limousine, like they just like lay there.
Sure.
And the bad guys, the henchmen, grab the.
Wait, does something happen to the limousine?
No, like the limousine
They
just
just
like comes to a
stop the
stop.
limousine, and then they all go, "Oh, we're dead."
Yeah, they're just
That's-
like they're laying there, and the guys go in to
Okay.
like grab the briefcase that his files are
Yeah,
in,
yeah.
and they open it, and it's filled with a poisonous gas.
Oh yeah,
that
of course.
kills him.
Sure.
And like he tells his secretary, like, "Hey, I did that on purpose because we
Oh.
can't let these."
Yeah. Can't let these Borkites
So
get
then
around.
he shows up at this Geneva Arms conference,
Okay.
and you would think that Bork would be like,
Bork.
"Oh, what are you doing here?" Nope. He's just like, "Hey, Mr. Smith, you know, you were a very, very well informed guy. Glad to see you here." Like he's just trying to play off the fact that I guess he did it.
Yeah.
What?
Well, I that's kind of like Goldfinger or somebody like that. You know, they're like, "Oh, Mr. Smith,
Exactly. I'm trying to
it's lovely
find
to see you."
just the most ridiculous explanation for war. Hold on.
Do not pet my cat.
Well, no, like, so they're sitting there and they're talking. Two diplomats are. I guess this happens a little bit later.
Two diplomats.
So we have the CIA thinks Bork is plotting to start a brush fire war in their country next. Those diplomats have been warned about Bork, but he seems to have them hoodwinked. Like he's, you know, talking into selling stuff.
Yeah.
Christopher Smith realizes that he's unable to stop Bork
Okay.
with using.
Bork.
It just sounds like it's a
It
terrible.
sounds stupid. Yeah.
But with his, you know, he's an envoy. I'm trying to think his basically, you know, through his means of doing it all legally,
Right.
like he has no recourse to
Yeah.
talk to senators to get him taken care of. So he has to use violence.
Okay.
And he has a secret room in his house already.
Christopher Smith.
Christopher Smith does. That is just filled with weapons.
Okay. Well,
This
he
is-
is. I mean, he's.
I get it.
Yeah.
And he created all of these,
Oh.
right?
Okay.
And
Dude's got some time on his hands.
yeah, it says inside, this is him walking to the secret room. I just have to read this verbatim. Verbatim? There we go.
Yeah.
Verboten.
He fights him later in the comic, Verboten.
In the great cellars, there is a thick steel door. No man except Christopher Smith has ever been in the room beyond. And then Chris says, "There is no way." And they walk into it, and it's filled just like head to toe with just weapons.
Yeah.
It says, inside is an arsenal of the most potent weapons ever devised by man. He has designed all of them. But as a man dedicated to peace and nonviolence, Christopher Smith has sworn never to use any of them. And he goes, if Bork is permitted to continue,
Bork.
he will involve half the world in senseless war. In this case, violence must be met with violence. Although violence is against everything I stand for, there's no other solution. And so that's where he dons the Peacemaker costume.
Yeah.
And he's going to go fight.
So this dude has no real superpowers.
No.
He's just a guy who likes to shoot things.
Basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's the thing, too, is like, in that explanation, I'm vowing to use the one thing I never wanted to use.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but usually when you try not to do things, you don't have it around. Like, hey, I'm not going to, eat as much chocolate.
Sure. I'm
next
gonna
time
quit
I
smoking.
go, I'm not going to have a pack just laying around.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy chocolate next time I go to. But this guy's like, man, I love peace so much. Let me go build guns down in my lair. Also, let me have a superhero costume already made for something that I never want to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Thou dost protest too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also a part, I can't find it, but I can just tell you what it is. When the, like, two of the people were talking about a potential war. Mm-hmm. And I guess Charlton writers were trying to be like, we need to make it sound like a real deal, but not upset anybody. Mm. So it was like, well, he's really talking to that country down there in South America. If the country in South America gets word that the other country that is also in South America has problems, then we could have problems between two countries are South America. And you're like, okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Like it's just the most specific. Half-hearted. Mm. So basically that's how he becomes Peacemaker. He does
maybe they just didn't have the encyclopedias handy.
Maybe.
You know, they were just like, I know South America exists.
Yeah. Like, and then I thought it's the 60s, but it's the late 60s.
Right.
So we're kind of past Cuba and the missile crisis and all that. Granted, that's not South America, though, either.
No.
So I was like, what are they trying to...
Sandinistas were way later.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe I think comic books, kind of like tenure, they're always focused on bad guys living in South America. And the reason I say that is... Remember, Snowflame was in Bolivia.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, because all the cocaine.
All the cocaine.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking.
Snowflame.
So here's we have our second rule. We haven't even really talked about the first one, but I'm making them right now. There's 2 rules for comics that you can learn here on Bros, Foes, and Heroes. Rule one is every professor is worried about tenure.
Absolutely. Every bad guy almost.
Every bad guy, too, even if they're not a professor. Mm-hmm. And rule two, South America is always evil.
Oh, yeah, sure.
There's nothing good that comes out of South America.
They eat guinea pigs down there.
Do they really?
Yeah, Argentina.
I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah. They farm them and eat them.
You know, I always wanted to go to Brazil, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was in 4th grade, I did like a giant, like, you know how you have to do reports? No, I had to like type up and do a report on it.
I did a giant diorama.
For some reason,
Brazil. For some reason, it had a baking soda volcano right in the middle of it, right by that big Jesus statue.
Yeah, I had it coming out. But I failed that one. So
yeah. You failed it?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I was just saying,
that'd be great.
Putting the volcano in the middle of it. They were like, "This is that's not there."
No, that doesn't exist.
And I was like, "No, this is New Brazil." And then I had like New Brazil, and then I just had like pictures of like scantily clad women from Carnival just smacked all around it.
Zach, why all the Legos? I don't understand.
You tried to build accurate looking stick figures. All right. So
these sexy ladies built out of Legos.
No, I just printed them off on my little inkjet printer.
Sure, yeah.
And then I had to cut them out and just like glue them to the.
It took hours.
Well, yeah, because I had my 14.4K connection.
That's right.
And I only had my 10 hours of Netflix of Net Zero that I couldn't use up.
Yeah.
And heaven forbid my grandma didn't have to call because it kicked me off the internet and it'd take me another 30 minutes for it to print anything else.
Yeah. Grandma.
All right. So now that we're back here in 2022 instead of 1996. Actually, I don't think I had the internet in 96. I don't think I got to the point where I was using the internet regularly to like junior high.
I'm surprised you're not a supervillain at this point then.
Just because
you didn't have any internet.
I didn't have any internet.
I didn't have any internet, and I love South America.
I do. I want to go to South. Man, if I come in here one day and I start talking about tenure,
I know there's a problem. Sure. I think you need to go and look for a secret room at his house, cops.
He's a teacher.
I'm thinking there's probably some guns in there.
He's not a teacher and he never has been, but he's worried about tenure for some reason, please.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So he ends up defeating Bork, but that's just the general origin of
Bork.
The Charlton version of Peacemaker.
Charlton, though, does sound like it would be brought to you by like Chesterfield cigarettes, right?
For sure. Yeah.
Peacemaker for Chesterfields.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Kids, have a smoke.
Makes my lungs feel great.
5 out of 5 doctors think they're great.
5 out of 5 doctors say smoking Chesterfields daily.
See, I have the thought, and I know this isn't related to anything, but I feel like this is why the people listen. It's like, I enjoy
they love
comic
the Chesterfield
content,
ads.
But they love us just getting off track sometimes.
And now a word from our sponsor, Chesterfield.
But like we look back, because obviously like even with cigarettes and stuff and how like,
Oh yeah.
but even further back like that, we look at people and what they did at that time and think like, that is the stupidest thing. Why did they do that?
They're going to think the same
So
thing
I'm
about
waiting
us.
but I'm trying to, the game I tried to play is what is it that they're going to think about us? And so that can be fun sometimes.
Parachute pants.
Oh yeah.
There you
Zubaz.
go. Done. Pogs.
I had a lot of pogs, man.
Yeah, they're just cardboard.
I don't even know, like, and I bring it up and even people my own age are like, what are you talking about?
Really?
Yeah. So pogs just...
Pogs.
I think it's a government conspiracy to try to erase pogs from our memory. But
we let them out too early.
let's focus now on the DC origin,
All
which
right.
in typical DC fashion,
And this is about what time frame?
this is the late 80s. I want to
Okay.
say like 88, 89.
All right. End of the Reagan regime.
End of the Reagan regime. And of course, if they're going to release a character, oh, this is a 60s character. We
Right.
need to amp him up. We need to make him more 80s like.
Sure.
His name is actually in that one not Christopher Smith, but Christopher Schmidt. SC. I don't remember if there's. I'm pretty sure it's H. Schmidt, like
So
the German.
Okay. And why does that change anything?
Because his father is the leader of a concentration camp.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I told you. Like
Okay.
it's DC. We're gonna take something very sweet and heartfelt. Not even like just sweet, but just like all right.
Yeah.
He's about peace. We're gonna add a messed up backstory to it because that's what we do.
Wait, his father?
His father.
So, okay, if he is, how old would you say he is in these comics in the 80s?
20.
Well, that's
30.
what I'm saying. Does the time frame even make sense? Like that his dad would run, I would think it'd be his grandfather.
I think that the story that they tell is kind of like a happened before this point kind of thing.
He
you know how
runs-
they do that sometimes?
Yeah, he runs the world's last concentration camp down in South America.
No, but that's where they all are. That's why South America is so evil.
Sure.
Because it's the Nazis down there.
Yep.
Which, funny enough, if you watch Doom Patrol, you'll know that, there's still Nazis down there.
South America and the dark side of the moon. That's where the Nazis are.
Did they? I don't remember them talking about that in the Pink Floyd album.
Yeah,
was it on the Transformers movie?
It's on all of it. Yeah, you just got to listen.
I got to play it backwards.
Yeah.
So his father was a leader of a concentration camp, responsible for at least the death of like 50,000 plus people.
Sure.
He gets really sick. His dad does.
No, I'm saying like his bed frame. It just won't even stand anymore. It's got so many notches on it.
Man.
Sorry.
So
That's stupid.
no. So his father gets really sick.
Yeah.
His father refuses to basically lose to this disease. I don't remember if it's cancer or what.
Sure.
So he kills himself in front of 5-year-old Chris.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So Chris.
Wow. DC just really put
they
the
were
hammer
like,
down,
yeah.
didn't they?
So
Wow.
not only is his father a Nazi war criminal, but he also killed himself in front of his 5-year-old son.
Yeah, well,
so
there you
Chris
go.
is messed up to begin with. So
setting him up for success.
typical DC fashion,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Remember how Batman's parents were dead? Let's do that.
Yeah.
But also Nazis. Okay.
yeah. So he joins the army.
Kids love it.
He joins the army eventually, or some sort of
Military organization. Yeah.
This is after they move to the U.S.
Uh-huh.
and his mother changes their name from Schmidt to Smith.
Ah, okay.
So he's back to being
Well,
Chris
it still
Smith.
kind of fits. Yeah.
Yeah, but she just didn't want like if anybody, I don't know.
Sure.
But
Sure.
there's a mission that he goes on where he kind of snaps a little bit and ends up killing like innocent men or innocent women and children in the mission that they're in.
Oh no.
And so he's like taken to trial in a way for it for war crimes. And instead they enlist him, instead of him like going to jail or they enlist him in the like a Peacemaker program.
Gotcha.
And they train him into being
A good
Peacemaker.
guy. Okay.
Through all this though, there are times where
Wait, what organization is training him? I mean, is it just the government?
I think so.
I mean, because that's easy, right?
I think it's just the government at first. Like eventually, obviously, it's like in the Suicide Squad where like Amanda Waller will.
Yeah. I didn't realize. I didn't know if it was like the government or if it was some sort of superhero organization or whatever. That
Here
was
it is.
Making him
I'm
into
just
something.
I'm finding Here, I'll read it directly from Comic Vine.
Okay.
Which is, if you ever need to look up anything, great website. It's Comic Vine.
Comic Vine.
Christopher's. So also, what I haven't mentioned is through all of this. Well, here, let me read from them, so I can get a better way to do it. Here we go. So I told you that Christopher fired upon the village inhabitants, killing men, women, and children.
Right.
He was court-martialed and sentenced to life imprisonment at Leavenworth.
Gotcha.
Near the end of his second year of imprisonment, he was offered a pardon if he joined Project Peacemaker,
Okay.
a top-secret, high-tech, independent anti-terrorist squad. 8 months into the project, Peacemaker, 8 months into Project Peacemaker, it was shut down and quickly became lost in the bureaucratic shuffle. Chris was able to walk off the base and disappear without incident. A year later, Chris reappears using his father's business and heading the PAX Institute. Apparently his father did something once they came back to the U. Or I don't remember all that. It's not important. Don't worry about it.
That Peacemaker program, oddly enough, now known as Wendy's. It's
but
took a weird turn.
No, it was an independent agency. I just had to remember. Later, he's taken in by, like, Amanda Waller recruits him,
right,
and that's how he becomes a part of Suicide Squad.
Sure.
So
she was. Let me just say real quick. She is very persuasive.
Yes,
because she got a buttload of them to sign up for this thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, also they do instill bombs in people's heads, so they kind of force you to do it.
So yeah, but I'm saying. Well, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
So the thing that's weird about this, though, is Chris has images, or he's haunted by the ghost of his dead father, who constantly tells him that he's not good enough.
Okay, sure.
Because, he's a strong man and Chris isn't to that level. Chris also thinks that his helmet gets possessed by all the people he's killed at point in time.
Okay.
So
just his helmet. So in typical DC fashion, they took what Charlton did and they made it a mess in a sense. Yeah.
But it's their mess. Now, watching the new TV show, which came out on Thursday,
right?
It seems like it's a little bit of a mix of both. Like we don't know full, like, what I think, because his father's still alive in the show.
Oh, okay.
So I think that James Gunn has kind of made his own story for it, which is good. But you can see probably where he pick and chose some from each little thing. But the TV show is absolutely fantastic.
Okay.
If you liked the Suicide Squad movie, you will love the TV show, I feel like.
Okay.
A lot of great jokes.
Yeah.
Nonstop jokes. Some of it is just ridiculous and irreverent, so just be prepared, but it is hilarious.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
I will also tell you just to be on the listen out, I guess, for a couple like Easter eggs in there.
Really?
Batmite gets mentioned.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Also, even though it's not a DC, Mothra gets brought up.
Really?
Yeah, I'm trying to think who else.
Godzilla's
Doll Man.
Doll Man
is a reference to one of the very first episode of Bros, Foes, and Heroes when we talked about Black Condor.
Okay.
Will Eisner also did Doll Man.
Oh, okay.
Which was later bought by DC. Remember, he's the guy who can make himself really small.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a whole rant from Peacemaker about Doll Man.
Okay, great. Even though we've never met Doll Man.
Even though we've never met. So it's great. Sure. It's hilarious. There's another guy I'll go ahead and just bring up just because I know a little bit about. You've seen him in the trailers. I'm not going to explain too much about him because you'll learn that once you get into the series. But Vigilante, which is, for lack of a better term, his sidekick in the show,
right? But
also even in comics and stuff before.
Okay. That's what I was wondering. I didn't know if he was.
Vigilante was in the comics as well.
Yeah.
I actually looked into his background, and I can just super short. He was, I don't think he was a lawyer or something. And he was trying to take down organized crime. Like, he helped out
in South America.
Yeah, he helped. Well, no, it was but he helped out the Teen Titans, and one of the mob bosses, like, he got him to flip.
Okay.
And instead of going to jail, the mob boss decided to put a hit on Vigilante.
Yeah.
Adrian, I can't remember his last name.
Barbeau.
I don't think so.
Oh.
But so and put a bomb at his apartment, but it just killed his wife and kids.
Oh no.
So he's distraught. He's brought in by some person finds him, was like, hey, we can teach you how to be, something special. Takes him off, like they go out into the desert, and he's approached by like 4 people who are, I guess, some sort of like gods in a sense. I didn't go too far into it because you'll see one.
Okay. Just like sweat lodge type stuff.
No, it's like in a desert, and they're all
Well,
just
that's what I'm
like,
saying. Is he like he's on a quest or something?
I guess, like on a quest to become something better.
Huh,
And they
okay.
tell him that, hey, if you beat all 4 of us, we'll teach you like everything we know. Like if you pass our 4 tests.
Oh, okay.
He has like they're like spirits of
What
like
is your
Roman
name?
guardians. Yeah. European or African swallow. I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
And so he ends up failing them all, but doesn't give up and spends 6 months training and eventually passes them all, and they teach him everything they know and becomes vigilante.
Right.
But
he's highly flawed as well, right?
yeah, I'm sure.
So let me ask you, what about the eagle?
Let me wrap up
All right,
Vigilante
please,
real quick, because
please,
this is
please
just,
do.
I found it funny. I don't think we're gonna get this in the TV show, but in the comic, he and Peacemaker are like trying to fight at the same time, and they get into a little scuffle, and Peacemaker unmasks Vigilante.
Oh no.
And so everybody knows who Vigilante is. Very much like the Peter Parker in Spider-Man No Way Home. But
right.
there's no magic to fix it. And so he can't deal with the fact, like, he's being hunted now as a criminal. So Vigilante ends up killing himself.
Oh no.
Basically because of Peacemaker.
Oh no.
This is DC in the late 80s, people.
My God, DC,
Let's not
come
forget.
on.
We've talked about this too. DC in the late 80s, they seemed like they were like, hey, we need to focus on stuff that's going on in the real world. We need to make our comics edgier and stuff like that. But then some of the things they do just don't work.
So you get Cocaine Man.
Yeah, you get Cocaine Man. You get the AIDS vampire.
Oh God.
You remember the AIDS vampire?
Yeah, very much so.
And now you get another hero has basically caused another hero, or hero has caused another hero to kill himself.
Oof.
Hey, DC during the late 80s. Go ahead and read you something.
Good job, DC.
But I can tell you the series is a lot more funny than that.
Yeah.
And even if
Hardly
something
any
like
suicides so far.
well, yeah, not.
Yeah.
But even if it did happen, I feel like it'd probably be. Well, I don't want to say for laughs. That's terrible. I don't think we have to worry about that in the series. Is what I'll say. Now, Eagly.
Yeah.
I thought that I saw Eagly in the very first origin of Charlton,
Okay.
but it was just him falling out of the sky and almost hitting an eagle. No relation.
All right.
There's no reference to Eagly that I came
So
across.
Eagly is a wholly new
I
invention.
don't know about that because there's 190 appearances of Peacemaker.
Sure.
So in the like 5 to 10, I probably read about 8 different issues. He did not appear, but that doesn't mean that he's not there somewhere.
Yeah.
I will tell you,
I love the idea that he just carries an eagle around with him.
dude, it's so
Yeah.
great.
Leaves him in the car.
There's a quote in, I can't remember what episode it is, but Eagly flies into the back seat as they're like trying to get away. And one of the Harcourt is her name, but she's part of the like the squad. Who does Argus? She's part of the Argus team that's there for Peacemaker. And she goes, that thing better not shit in the back of the car. And she goes, is it potty trained? John Cena goes, is it potty trained? No, that's how you crush an eagle's soul. Something to that effect. It's great though.
That's really great.
All of it's great. There's a hilarious long, really inappropriate Louis C.K. joke that's in there that's great. There's obviously just any of the irreverentness, I guess is the word that you loved from the regular Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah. From the newer one.
Yeah, from the newer one.
Yeah.
Just be prepared for more of it. It's
Not
great.
that other abomination.
And I did look into it. Season 2 is actually a maybe.
Very nice.
It's not going to be for a bit though. James Gunn wants to finish Guardians of the Galaxy 3
And
then
the holiday special.
and then take a break because he's filled like he's just had project.
Yeah.
And then after said break, he says that he's down to come back and do another season of Peacemaker.
That's awesome.
So that's good. So great things to look forward there too. We'll probably.
But he did say he does not want the DC universe given to him like Kevin Feige.
No. Yeah. No. I don't think he wants that. I think I think that James Gunn has found his niche in, not to say that he doesn't make other great movies, but the comic book movies he's done so far in series have been great. Guardians of the Galaxy,
Guardians,
Suicide. Yeah. I think that he has found, if you give James Gunn your comic book property of weird team up kind of things, where he's able to like make that family kind of mesh work, and then also bring in as much randomness that's associated with it as possible.
Yeah.
It's great. Oh, Weasel's brought up again.
Oh.
He just a name.
Oh, okay.
We don't know if
that's all right.
We don't know what he's doing, but he is brought up again. But no, it's a good show, so I highly recommend it. So there you go. That is Peacemaker.
You know, I'm sitting here looking at James Gunn on IMDb, and I did not realize that he did Super also with
with Rainn Wilson and
Dwight Schrute. Yeah,
and was Elliot Page in that?
No, you're thinking of Badass, I think. Oh no, it is Elliot Page. Yeah. Elliot Page, Liv Tyler, Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, I thought he was in that too.
Michael Rucker.
Yeah. No, Kick-Ass was that,
and his brother.
Well, his brother's in everything.
Yeah.
Which is kind of hilarious.
It is fantastic. It really is.
His brother was the Calendar Man and Weasel. I'm waiting to see then if his brother's in this at some point in time, but he hasn't
he's got to be.
Yet.
He's probably the Eagle.
Oh, yeah.
Guardians.
He's hugging me.
Guardians,
Can you take a picture? Oh, that's so great. So, do yourself a favor. Watch Peacemaker. Make sure the kids aren't around, though, because it's definitely...
I didn't realize he's a trauma guy. Like, oh shoot, what's the big trauma? Tromeo and Juliet, and what's the the big monster that's a janitor?
The Toxic Avenger.
Yeah, he's tied into that world. Like he did Sergeant.
Really?
He did some stuff with Sergeant Kabuki and Tromeo and Juliet.
Is this back in the day?
He did the Specials.
Huh?
You remember the Specials?
No.
So the Specials is another superhero-y type movie. Thomas Hayden Church, Rob Lowe.
I mean, I love those characters.
Yeah.
I mean, those actors, but...
Yeah, and Sean Gunn, of course.
Well, yeah, because Sean's going to be on everything.
Judy Greer. Wow. Huh. Wow. Huh. I got to go back and watch me some James Gunn stuff.
There we go. So that is Peacemaker, Mr. Christopher Smith.
Yeah.
What is the... I think the new tagline is... He fights for peace no matter how many men, women, and children he has to kill to get it. It used to be, though, let's be honest,
Just
even
dicks.
the Charlton version, where, he's supposed to be more innocent in a way and doesn't have like the, Nazi concentration camp father. He still had a cache of weapons, even though that was the one thing he said he would never do. It's like, you know what? I really have to slow down on my cocaine use. I'm glad I have this mountain down here for some time, I guess.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
that part makes no sense. But I don't know. It's
like I say, the comic books, that's the first thing they ask you to do is suspend your disbelief.
Yeah. His character is, to me, the best way it is right now, where he is like a gray character.
Yeah.
And you see in the series of what he's dealing with, and it does add growth to the character. And so I think this is the best version so far that we've had of him.
All of Gunn's characters are in that gray zone. Yeah. They can be good, they can be bad, they can be both.
And it's so great because he even sets up like, I don't want to call it division, but like they're like, he even shows that grayness within the team that you're supposed to root for.
Oh, that's
when
cool.
you have, like there's conflict between the team. So that's kind of cool too. But no, I'd recommend going and checking it out on HBO. The 3-episode premiere is there.
Thank
and
you,
then
James Gunn.
each Thursday, I think, is when they'll release the new episodes. The Charlton Comics version, I think, is probably the better backstory, but DC did DC, and they're always going to do DC.
One last question.
Yeah.
Did they ever explain the helmet?
Like he started with the helmet.
Okay.
Like they go into the helmet more about like, I think there's like, it can shoot lasers from it.
Because it is a weird.
It has
shape.
it has like a CB in it or like a radio in it you can hear. And they kind of go into that a little bit more in the series. Like there's things his helmet can do. It's
the
not
utility
just like
of his helmet.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There's more utilities to it, and they'll go into it a little bit more. So it's not just, it just doesn't look ridiculous. Like there's things it does too.
Okay. All right. Man, I can't wait.
Yeah. I'm telling you,
Now I
it's going
just
to be
want to go home
exciting.
and watch that.
Yeah. Do it. You don't have anything else to do.
No, nothing else going on. That's great.
As always, you can find us on Instagram, Bros, Foes, and Heroes, or feel free to email us at brosfoesandheroes@gmail.com.
Gmail.com.
Mike, anything else you'd like to plug while we're here?
I don't think so. I mean, I can tell you go listen to Story Dog. I can tell you go listen to Wake the Kids, Phone the Neighbors, which I did not get an episode out of this week, and
But I did.
I'm so sorry.
Listen to episode 2 and I enjoyed it a lot.
Did you like it?
So, yeah, I
Good.
did.
Good. I'm glad you liked it. And then we're hoping this week we get out that first King of the Hill episode. It's wow.
That's my purse. I don't know you.
That's right.
It's my favorite King of the Hill quote.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So there you go. As
Do I
always,
look like I know what a JPEG is?
It's such a great show. I enjoyed it so much more the older I got. Like
Yeah.
watching it as a kid, I was like, this is kind of stupid. Watching it now, I'm like, this is hilarious.
No, it's excellent.
Yeah.
Good writing.
So that's stuff you can look forward there.
That's all I got. Yeah, and you can find us at roguemedianetwork.com.
.com. So is it too late now for me to go in a word from our sponsor since we're closing it up?
No, go right ahead.
All right. I know that we have like 30 seconds left, but before you hear the last of it, please, a word from our... No, I'm not going to do that.
Chesterfield cigarettes.
Chesterfield cigarettes and tenure lock. Are you worried about somebody stealing your
Tenure lock.
tenure? Hire us at tenure lock. We'll make sure. I don't know.
It's like it kind of reminds me of like one of those Social Security add-on commercials.
Yes.
You know,
Yes. You'll see on like
I got my tenure and more.
that you'll see on MeTV.
Yeah, Me TV. Wow.
Sorry, I just alienated. Well, let's be honest, they're not listening to us. I can't believe that somebody in their late 60s, early 70s.
Octogenarians. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, they'd be 80 if they were octogenarians.
Right.
So whatever the word is. And if you are listening to us and you are, well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
You're not a part of the MeTV group. You're cool because you listen to us.
Yeah, and this is not a fever dream.
Not at all.
No, just check your diaper and get back to listening.
Make sure to let the rabbits out before you go to bed. All right.
The
So
rabbits.
I don't know.
All
I just
right,
thought
cool.
that you become less lucid.
You just think
the
old
older.
people keep rabbits.
Well, no, I just think that you just kind of lose your mind the older you get.
Oh, okay.
Or
So
at
rabbits
least that's how I'm going to go out.
Sure.
It's just eventually I'm going to get too crazy.
And when you start buying rabbits, we know it's happened.
You'll know.
Okay.
Yeah, that should be your third thing. If I start talking about tenure, if I
Right.
want to go to South America,
Right.
if I start buying rabbits.
Yeah. What would your evil superhero name be?
Oh, did I tell you?
The Hutch
No. Oh, and
for your rabbits.
Yeah, I like that. The Hutch.
The Hutch.
No, I came up with the idea of,
That would mean you keep the rabbits in you, which is weird.
oh, that would be really weird. Unless I built like a giant suit that like cased
That's
them
true.
in
That's
and I
true.
just
Yeah, that
opened
would
it
be
up
bad.
and
Yeah.
I could train killer rabbits.
Well, and you could fight fox people. You could fight the weasel.
Yeah.
Anything that would get
I
your
just
rabbits.
go after vermin type heroes and supervillains.
Snake.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all for us today. As always, we appreciate you listening.
Yep.
And until next time, we expect you to tune in.
Yep.
Please. If not, Mike gets really sad. And then I have to spend the first 30 minutes before we record just kind of building them back up. So,
Yeah, it really it tears up my world.
it does. I'm just dragging this out.
No,
But
you're good.
until next week, everybody stay safe.
Got it, gun.
Frozen, heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen, heroes. Gonna tell you about.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.